just resting. I was supposed to go and hang out tonight, but it didn't work out, so I figured I might as well go ahead and jump on again. I know I had mentioned that I was going to do some, catching up on probably once a week or even twice a week. And I already, put in a video this morning with my running, videos and stuff like that. So I guess the reason why I'm on here is because there's just been a lot of good things that has, come to my mind, a lot of good vibes that I've seen as far as people that I've started to listen to more, especially on YouTube. YouTube is a very good way to regenerate your brain, to listen and to learn from others, So there is a fella on YouTube, and he's younger, he's way younger, he's like in his 20s. And let me see if I can find him. Leo Skepi. He really encourages me to with things that has to do with my inner self, So I have a lot of low self-esteem, and I don't generally go out and and I think it's because, I don't know, maybe it's an excuse, who knows what it is, excuse of having anxiety that developed over COVID or whatever. And before then I was out and about. Well, before COVID I was drinking all the time. I was always at the bars. I was always the one that wanted to go out and just party and have fun. And so that kept me from not being so anxious and not having these high anxieties. And it was like fun to hang out with friends and stuff like that. So now I quit drinking, and I've been sober for almost 4 years now. And well, 5 years. And so I put a pat on my back because drinking is not for everybody. Definitely not for me. I don't do social. I cannot ever take a drink of alcohol and think that I'm going to be fine after one. No, I can't just drink one. I have to drink at least 10 of them, or until I pass out. That's the kind of alcoholic that I am, and I can't just have one. So anyways, Leo has really tapped into a lot of conversations on his podcasts and stuff, and so they're on YouTube. But there's a lot of good things that he talks about, especially for finances, on how to budget and how to save and how to be really smart with your money. He doesn't criticize anybody, so it's really nice to have that encouragement from a young man like him. And he's cute. He's really cute. He's so adorable. And I just think he's really engaged my brain into listening to him. He says a lot of good things that are thoughtful, like how to attract people into your life, and just making a career out of things. So anyways, I laugh at him. The first time I saw him was on Facebook. Yeah, it was on Facebook. It was one of those reels, and I watched that one reel, like, I don't know how many times I watched it, and it just made me giggle, and it made me laugh, and it just made my whole day. I don't go out all the time now. I have my boyfriend, which he lives in Texas, and I miss him. I wish he was here, or I wish I was there more often so I can hang out with him more, because he's my only friend. Well, I have my kids, but my kids have their friends, and they have their own lives, and they have all these other things. But for me, it's like you really don't have any friends to hang out with, and I don't have anybody to really get out of my own shell. So when I go out, my good thing is going fishing. I can go fishing and sit by myself by the lake, boring, and then I used to drink beer, and now or wine, a chilled wine out by the lake, and now it's just coffee in the morning. I go out early in the morning and go by the lake, watch the sun, rise over the mountain, over the lake, and have my coffee and sit and enjoy just the silence of everything. Hear the eagles, as they are, talking to each other and whatever. Anyways, so that's kind of like my thing. I don't know what else I should do, like when the weather gets warmer and stuff. And I started, it's my boyfriend, hold on. I just want to just cry. He was so sweet. Oh my gosh. I didn't hear from him all day today. I know I was talking about Leo and stuff, but I have to tell you about him. Oh my gosh. So I didn't hear from him all day today. I was like, I hope not everything is okay with him. I hope nothing happened, because I'm not freaking out or anything like that. But I've grown a little bit wiser and knowledgeable about how I'm reacting, because, when I was younger, I used to always get really overreactive, like if a guy didn't call me or text me, I'd be like, if you don't do this and and then I just like, forget it. If you don't want to talk to me, whatever. And then I send them on their way, whatever. And, so my boyfriend is, the first time I met him, I just like, okay, we'll just see where it goes. Because I met him on Tinder. And I guess I'll just go ahead and tell you the whole story. So, excuse me. I was in dating app, and my life was just full of, craziness. And so I had given up on like, relationships and stuff. And, oh my gosh, anyways, I had given up on relationships. And then one of the things that I have been doing was I guess I was infatuated by this guy that I met prior to this, to my boyfriend that I was meeting. But he was just way all wrong for me. And at that time, and he was very considerate enough, the first time that we met. And he told me that he wasn't looking for a relationship, which is like a, good sign, he really, I think when we got to know each other and stuff, he really, I guess, sensed something about me. I don't know, but we clicked and everything. But the one issue was that he was drinking all the time. He was such a hardcore drinker, and he had all these demands when he was drinking, and most of the time it was very toxic. It was like, but I still liked him, and I still kind of hoped, which is kind of like something that a women dream about in their head, is that maybe he'll get better. No, and he would go like days and nights without even texting me back or messaging me. And then when he really wanted to hang out with me, or if he's exhausted all the messages with other women, which is like, ooh, it's dumb me, waiting on his message, his text messages. And it was exhausting. I was just like, I'm not ever going to have anybody. And I remember I made this video on TikTok, and I was, talking about him. And then all of a sudden, I was like, at the brink, and I was saying, oh, I'm, got me something to eat, and I'm going to try this. And then, everything is fine, and da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden I just broke down and I started crying. And this was a week before, 2 weeks. I think it was a week before I met my boyfriend. And I started crying, and I was like, I just want somebody in my life. I just want a relationship. and it's so hard, and I was just going off and I was crying and stuff. And so I took myself back together, and so I continued on my dating apps and stuff. And the one thing that I'm really glad that I did was, because I didn't pay the extra payment on, because you pay monthly payments on Tinder and stuff. So I didn't do that. I didn't do that because why? So I made it kind of like a game. Like I just go and then all of a sudden if it like bursts up in celebrations, it's like, yay, you're a match, we'll see, you be the first one to send a message. And I was like, so, and even before there's a celebration and stuff, I did never, send messages and stuff. But I've gotten to the point at that time where if there was like this celebration, like, oh, you're a match, whatever, or he likes you, or he found interest in you, or whatever that the message is, and I just say hello. That was all I would send, is like, hello, how are you? And I think I said that to him. I messaged him, and I said, hello, how are you? And then he responded back to me, and I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and just, because I was bored one night, and then he just text messages me, and I text messaged him, and then after that, I usually try to test a man, which I don't know. I didn't really test him. I just, was telling him what I really want. And at that time, I was like, I just might as well go ahead and use the man. And so, and one of the things that he was asking me was, what are you looking for? And I said, all I want is just sex. That's all I want. His response is like, really? Like, yes, that's pretty much all I want. I don't really want a relationship. I just want to, I just want sex. And that was my honest. Sorry, my daughter came in and scared me. I was like talking about myself and sex and everything else, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm like, what are you doing here? So anyways, I approached him that way, and then we started to get to talk to even more. But even prior to when he was asking me these questions, he was asking about about my tribe and stuff, and so I didn't really pay attention to where he was or where he was from and stuff like that. We just continued just to talk and message. And then after I had told him that, he says, I really want to meet you. Let's meet. It was just like, let's meet. Oh, that's my dog. His name is Grayson. And I was like, okay, I can go ahead and meet you. So we set a time. He said that either tomorrow, Monday, or Tuesday. And I was like, okay, let's make it Tuesday. If you're not busy, if nothing, we'll just say Tuesday. And so he said, okay. So we made it on the Tuesday. It was on a 14th, or was it Monday? I think it was on Monday. It was Monday, August the 14th is when we met. And he asked me, where do you want to meet? And I said, I want to go and meet at the Starbucks. And it was like way down in the middle of our city, Grand Junction. And at that time, he was just like wondering, why would you want to meet like way over there when you live over here? Because I told him I was from Loma. I was in another little town. I didn't specifically say I was in this town, that I'm staying in. And so anyways, so we were, so we had been texting, like messaging back and forth, like for the last 3 days before we actually met. And he kept asking me, are you sure you live in Loma? And I was like, yeah, I live in Loma. I didn't live in Loma. So anyways, the reason why he kept asking me is because he has a tracker on on Tinder. I mean, Tinder will be like, let's say things like, they locate you, and I just didn't really think about it. And so he says, because every time I drive by Fruita, it says that you're there. I'm like, yes, I am. I do live there. And he's like, then after we got to know each other, he's like, why did you say that? And I was like, I just want to protect myself, okay? I don't know you, and I don't know any of these other guys that I'm going to meet, and stuff. And that's so it's just for my safety reasons. So, anyways, he gave me a hard time with that for like several months and stuff. When we first met, it was funny. But we met at Starbucks, and the first time I met him and I saw him, I thought, this guy's not very bad looking. And I thought, he's very handsome. And so immediately he gives me a hug, which I thought that was really nice. And so then he buys my coffee and everything, and then we go sit out in the patio, and we start talking, and all of a sudden he just starts showing me pictures of his grandson, his brand new grandson. And then we talked and stuff, and then I got a little too excited because and I started laughing at him and things like that. But there was these motorcyclists on the strip on the road, and anyways, I got really excited, and he thought it was really, I noticed that his face was, you notice these small things, like this guy really is into me. So anyways, we got to talking. We talked, we stayed outside until Starbucks closed, we stayed there until Starbucks closed. And then I said, well, I guess we better get going. And so he walked me to my vehicle, and he asked me, he says, can I kiss you? And I said, yes. And then he kissed me, and he was just a really great kisser. So anyways, when we kissed, his mouth tasted really good. When you kiss somebody, they either don't taste well, they're not a very good kisser, or they're very sloppy. His mouth tasted really good. His kisses were very passionate and very good. So I didn't realize at that time that he was an avid smoker, like he smoked cigarettes. So I guess I didn't realize that. And then when I started to hang out with him more, he started smoking cigarettes. He was smoking a cigarette when we got to his truck. And we made out. We had a make out session and everything. So anyways, it was so nice. And he was just like a little boy. It was so cute. He was all excited and all happy and all just happy. I mean, it was really, and I know that when men act that way, it gets annoying to me. In the past, it has. But there was something about him that I just felt like, I want to give this man a chance and see what's going to happen along the way. So then he took me out to dinner, and then we got to, see each other. And we just kind of flirted and stuff, and, and it was really nice. I mean, he gave me a hug, and he gave me kisses every time he sees me and stuff. So it was really nice. It was almost like the first time I was with him, it was uneasy, but it was unsuring to me, I guess. I wasn't sure how to feel about him. I hoped, and then I don't know, maybe I just fell in love with him the first time I met him, because it felt like home. I guess it felt like home. And now he's like my home away from home. And I feel like I'm going to get emotional here, so forgive me, because my self-esteem is so low that I second guess things. And for him, it was a second guess, but it's amazing how when you ask for something from the Lord, because I prayed to him, and prior to meeting him, I I got so angry at Jesus. I was like, why can't you just give me somebody? You know that I'm this way and that way. And why can't you just give me somebody? Why are you just leaving me single like this when you know that I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm going to be doing and it's going to fail? And I'm going to, why can't you just give me somebody that I can love? And, my boyfriend came along and that was it. So it's well, almost going to be 2 years this year in August. It's going to be 2 years since we will be, seeing each other. I don't know what the future holds for us. I know that our long distance relationship is just going to have to be the way it is. And when I answered the phone and I heard his voice, and I just felt so like, oh, thank God he's alive, or thank God he's okay, because I was worried about you. And then in the conversations and stuff, he says, well, I just wanted to hear your voice. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it just makes me, it really feels good. It really feels good when somebody really cares for you like that. He won't say he loves me. When I tell him I love him, he doesn't say it back to me. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't care if he doesn't say it back, because someday, and if it would be more special for me to hear it from him, out of the blue, when I can at least expect it. That's when I would be like, the words I love you would mean so much more if I heard it out of the blue, because I don't need to hear it every day from him, because I know how he is. So anyways, before he called, I was talking about Leo, how cute he was. He's young, and I think he's gay. But or bisexual or something, I don't know. But he's gorgeous. He's gorgeous, and he's just so sweet and so funny, and he makes my day every time I listen to him. And I learn a lot from him, These young kids that are out there, I learn a lot from them, and I just so admire their minds, their ideas, and their abilities to just, create and enjoy life. And it makes me think about my life when I was a young, spring chicken, and I miss those days. And so when I listen to him, and it's just like he goes and parties and he drinks and da-da-da-da, and it just brings me back to when I was young and how I used to have all that energy and stuff. And then now I'm in my 50s, and it's good. It's still good. I just don't drink and party like I used to when I was young. But the older you get, the slower things are. So anyways, I just wanted to take a moment and just kind of talk and be encouraged to listen to other people, especially the young folks. But if you want to listen to him, I'll get his name up here. I got all emotional because of my boyfriend talking to me on the phone. Where is he? Where is that gorgeous young man? Leo Skepi. Yeah, Leo Skepi is his name. He's a great guy. He's so sweet, and you need to listen to him and just follow him. He's on YouTube. He also has Facebook and Instagram. Leo Skepi. Really good guy. Have a good night, and I will talk to you later. Good night.